Hey everybody, it's Michael from Get Your Rock Out, and I am sat here at Hammerfest with Desert Storm. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good, thanks man, good.
You guys are about a couple of hours away from playing. How do you guys feel right about now?
I'm pretty psyched.
Yeah, pretty psyched. Looking forward to having a few beers and getting into the mood and getting on stage and just, getting down with it, man.
Sway of things.
For sure.
Is it a good spot to be in? Like pretty much like halfway through the day, I guess?
It's pretty much perfect. I mean, last year, November, we were on earlier at Hard Rock Hell, and it was about 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
The 5:40 slot, people are just starting to get into it. People are waking up, from from Friday night, last night.
Digested nicely. Settled down, have a bit of a beer.
And obviously at that time you're not clashing with headliners and stuff. People want to be about to see certain headline acts and stuff. But we're actually fortunate in the fact that we've got no other band on at the time that we're on. So yeah, we're just looking forward to it, man. It's a good slot to be in, and it's gonna be a good one. Smash it at 5:40.
I saw you guys at Hard Rock Hell. I thought you were really good. I wrote at the time that you were a great combination of rock and roll hooks and rhythm and metal aggression and power. I said you were like a heavy Deep Purple. Am I on the money there, or am I just talking bollocks?
No.
We like Deep Purple. One of the first bands I went to see, actually, so that's cool.
We dig the classic stuff. I mean, that comes across in the music. We're very heavy.
Amalgamation of like all sorts, which is probably why you said it in your review of us. I mean, we take influence from everywhere, really, spanning from like post-hardcore, like ISIS and all that, to like everything, to classic rock. So
thrash metal, like grunge, sludge, everything, like. And then through to the other extremes, we got like blues. We love a bit of blues, or like a bit of acid jazz and stuff. Just.
Got to keep it interesting. So
exactly, like we're not music Nazis or anything. It's like you can't just stifle yourself and strictly say, right, I'm only going to do this. I only want to follow this one particular trend. It's like just let music wash over you, and whatever takes your fancy, just listen to it, and regardless of what anyone else has to say about it, that's the way to do it. And hopefully that could some of the different genres and stuff come across in the music. We don't intend for it to, but we are certainly influenced by like all sorts. So yeah, Deep Purple is certainly a fucking awesome band. So it's a nice one.
Thank God for that. You're talking about the blues influence and everything. It's kind of interesting in terms of metal, because it's all blues based, but then like bands like Judas Priest took out the blues elements. As a contemporary band in this day and age, do you feel that the blues is something that's important for people to remember, keep in their minds when they're trying to make this kind of music?
Well, yes, this is certainly the basis of many forms of modern music, so I mean you have to respect it for that fact. It doesn't necessarily mean that bands need to incorporate that into their music. I think the reason we have such heavy blues influence is because like our sound is just kind of like, it lends itself well to blues. We love the blues. It's a stripped back, laid back vibe, and we are.
It's a nod to it in the right sort of direction, isn't it? So.
Yeah, totally. Our music's quite slow paced, some of it. I mean, there are elements of it which kind of really crank it up and get people moving, but we like people to groove to the music as much as headbang. So to do that, you need a proper thick, like bluesy.
Of the blues. I think that's where it's sort of embraced the most, almost, is when they're sort of most raw with their sort of emotions anyway, when they're in the blues industry, and especially like New Orleans, sort of, where that's where it pretty much picked its way up, really. And
Deep South.
Yeah.
Deep South. Well, yeah, blues is like it's the sorrow of the heart almost. That was the original sort of like. That was the original sort of muse. Yeah, it's the way of venting it, is to play the blues and sing about your sorrow. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily say you have to be a miserable bastard to play blues music, but that's. I mean,
it helps.
It helps. Yeah. Some of our songs are pretty miserable. They happen to be the heavier ones, though. That's the odd thing about it. I mean, it's just you have to write from the heart and what seems to fit. That sounds really corny, but yeah, right from the heart. What seems to right from the heart, man. Like there's no point in trying to mechanically construct a song. It has to be quite organic, and if you're not, the song has to speak for itself. If you can't force it together. Sorry, I do yammer on a bit. I'll let you talk for a minute, mate. I have this habit. I'm a bit of a waffler.
It makes it easier for the interviewer. Don't have to say so much.
I appreciate it. I could just go and you could just talk.
This is the Matt Show. Let me
monologue.
Dramatic monologue. Okay, next question.
Horizontal Life. It's been out for just under a year now. Are you pleased with how it's been received?
Yeah, it's been received quite well, I think. Seems to be getting some good reviews and some good feedback from it. So yeah,
totally. It's been nice to play that material. As I said, it's been out. As you said, it's been out for a year now. So I mean, we are working on the next one, and it's nice. Like we think it's a solid album. It's a nice one to have in our repertoire.
To build on. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I mean, the new album that we're working on is, I'd say, more of a mature progression of where we were with Horizontal Life. It's kind of manifested itself and taken a bit more of a distilled journey, but we're still focusing on such a wide range of different elements, like you were saying, blues and all of that. So I mean, it's an amalgamation of everything, but it's also refining our own sort of sound. So
the production's sounding pretty good. We're working with the guy that did the latest Orange Goblin album, Jamie Dodd, and we've still got to mix it and master it, but most of the recording's down now, so
think we
hoping for a June release.
June release. We went into the studio this time with probably the material more rehearsed than we did last, so there wasn't quite as much faffing around. I don't know what the technical issue is. Last time when we did Horizontal Life, there was a lot of kind of room for trying things out, whereas this time the material, we're still laying down a couple of different tracks to see how things sound, but we're pretty certain we know how this one needs to sound. As I said, we're going in tighter and we're being a lot more efficient about things this time, so hopefully that comes across on the record,
I know you mentioned there you had a couple of interesting names working with you, Jimmy Hetherington, Billy Anderson. How did those guys come on board, and what was it like working with them?
Well, Jimmy's he's a good friend of ours and been quite well known on the Oxford scene through like bands that he was in before. He's a sound engineer at a venue called The Cellar, and he just seemed like a good person to work with. And then
he knew our sound as well, which I think was very important, because he'd played with us and sort of he'd embraced us from like doing sound tech for us quite a lot. He kind of already knew our sort of nuances and what we were about, which helped us sort of convey it within the music.
And he comes from our background as well. I mean, he's got a good solid understanding of the weird and wacky like areas of sludge and doom and stuff, so he appreciates that music, and him being such a good mate of ours made it so easy to work with him. You need to work with a producer that's not only professional but someone that you don't mind spending like 12 hours a day for a couple of weeks on end with, you don't want to be banging your head against somebody. You need somebody that's like solid, and we know Jimmy and we know that he's like that, so a very professional guy, man. And
Billy Anderson, he's just done worked with some great bands like High on Fire, I Hate God, Orange Goblin, so we just sent him a message saying if he wanted to master the album, and he seemed up for it, so that's pretty cool.
That's a pretty open closed case, wasn't it, that one? It was like we want him, we need him, he needs to be on the album, and got in contact.
But he's pretty much the perfect person for your style of sound.
I think a lot of the bands that he works with are sort of generally a bit more sludge than what we sort of. But he did a good job, and
did a fantastic job. We're using totally different people this time round, but that's more to give like a variety to our recordings. I think you shouldn't stifle yourself by using the same producer necessarily. I mean, if you like the work, go back and use them again, but it's not.
Shop around a little bit to find out if that's really is actually your sound, because you might find people that work better with you. Not to say they didn't work well with us, but you might find somebody who can add something different to the table as well.
Try a new taste and a new flavour of somebody else at their production value, whatever area of it is. That, I mean, it's the same with artists. We're trying to go for different artists on each album, just to sort of, to separate them out, and so we don't have this sort of like uniform look or sound of it. It's like it's nice to have that. So,
As I understand it, you have an interesting tour lined up for September, I believe.
It's August, September.
It finishes in September. That's with Karma to Burn. We've toured with them a few times before, but it's 15th of August to the 1st of September it'll be, so 18 dates, no days off.
I was technically correct. I'm all right. We're going to have to wrap this up, unfortunately, but do you have a message into the camera for all our readers that get you rock out?
Check us out on Facebook and all the usual places, Bandcamp, Desert Storm UK, generally, isn't it? So.
Desert Storm UK, desertstormuk.com. Play it loud, keep rocking. Just hope you enjoy the festival, man. Like those of you who are here at the festival, those of you at home, play it loud, play it proud. Fuck yeah. Desert Storm signing off.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good show tonight. Cheers.
Take it easy.